today I have a review for you on these Maybelline Color Sensational Matte Lipsticks. Sometime last year, Maybelline released 10 shades of their matte lipsticks that are available in their permanent range. A lot of people love these lipsticks. Only 8 of them were available in Canada, and I love the formula so much I went down to the States and made sure I picked up the 2 that I was missing. But recently this year, I think sometime in July or June, Maybelline released another 10 shades. So they expanded their shade range to 20 lipsticks, which I think is really good because matte lipsticks are all the trend right now, and there isn't enough matte lipsticks in the drugstore. So I wanted to do a video for you because I recently picked up all 10 new shades and I wanted to compare them to the other 10s that they had previously released, talk about the formula, and sort of do swatches so you can see which ones maybe you want or which ones you want to run out and purchase, just because the shade range is so large and it can be overwhelming. So I thought I would do a video comparing all 20 shades. To start off, the formula of these matte lipsticks is really nice. They're not like a pure, really drying matte lipstick. They go on quite smooth. They have a matte texture, but they still feel really nice on the lips. I'm wearing them right now. There is a little bit of slip to them. They almost feel a little bit silicone-y, if I can describe the slip. It's not like a glossy slip, it's more just like a really nice smooth slip. They have a really nice matte dry down, so they do look matte on the lips. They may have a little bit of shine to them, but nothing that's going to be shiny like a gloss or a shiny lipstick. So they're not 100% like a pure dry down matte, I would say, but they are a really nice formula of a matte without being too dry. They're still relatively long lasting and they are a really nice texture. You just have to keep that in mind, that they're not going to be as long lasting as something like a liquid lipstick or a pure matte lipstick. I think that the texture of these is almost like a bonus because sometimes when you have matte lipstick it can dry out your lips, but these have like that matte texture with being a little bit almost like hydrating without actually being hydrating, so they don't feel like they dry out your lips. The only thing that you need to sort of monitor is if you're wearing some of the darker shades, they can migrate a little bit just because of that sort of slip to them that they have. I would suggest pairing them with a lip liner or even just blotting them once they're on your lips. They will have a longer lasting power, and just keep in mind when you're eating and sort of throughout your day just to check up on them to make sure that you don't have lipstick all over your face. I almost prefer this texture of a matte lipstick compared to something that's super drying or super matte, because something that is super matte will sort of accentuate any kind of texture that you have in your lips. If your lips are a little bit more dry, or if they're chapped, or if you have a little bit more wrinkles, sometimes a matte lipstick can kind of accentuate that, where these almost have like a smoothing quality to them, so they smooth out sort of the texture of your lips without accentuating really any kind of dryness. I mean, they are still a matte lipstick, so you might see a little bit of texture on your lips. I think that overall the texture of these is really nice to hide any kind of chapped or dry lips. So the color range is really nice on these lipsticks. There's quite a few nudes. It goes into more pinks. There's a few reds. There's also like an orange, a purple, as well as some deeper colors. I have them intertwined by number. The ones that they released last year all ended in either 0 or 5, and the ones that they released this year sort of have odd or even numbers, so they kind of intertwine with the ones that were released last year. I have them out in number order, so if you are interested to try any of them once you watch this video, it's kind of easier to remember, and you can definitely look in the description below, which I will have them listed in the order that I talk about them. So when I go over these shades, I will also let you know if they are part of the new collection or they were released previously in last year's collection. So the first one of the collection is called Nude Embrace, and it was part of the original collection. It's probably one of the lighter ones out of the entire collection, but it leans a little bit more on the neutral or brown undertones of nude. There are quite a few nudes in this whole range, but this one is definitely a little bit more of the lighter brown tone. The next one is called Daringly Nude, which is also part of the original collection. This and the first one, which was called Nude Embrace, are very, very similar. If anything, this might be slightly lighter and it has more of a pinker undertone. This one in Daringly Nude is a lot more pink, where Nude Embrace is a lot more brown or sort of like orangey undertone of nudes. The next one is called Clay Crush, which is a new color. This one is more of like a terracotta nude, so it has like orange or brown undertones and it's a little bit deeper than the previous two. Next one is called Nude Nuance, Nuance, and it is part of the new collection. This one is more of like a deeper nude, so more of like a mid-tone brown or terracotta undertone nude. The next one is called Touch of Spice, which is part of the original collection. This one is like a spice color, so it has that brown undertones. It leans a little bit more pink without being too overly pink. I would say it's probably one of those mid-tone nudes that has a pink or brown undertone combined. And the next one is called Lust for Blush. This one is actually the one I'm wearing on my lips right now. It's like a mid-tone mauve-y with like purple or pink undertones. It's a really pretty mid-tone pink color. The next one I have is called Ravishing Rose. This one is a lot more brighter pink than Lust for Blush. Lust for Blush is a little bit more on the mauve-y tone, where this one is a little bit more of a brighter mid-tone pink. It definitely has warmer undertones compared to some of the other pink ones that are coming up. The next one I have is called Faint for Fuchsia. This is probably the brightest pink out of the entire collection. It's a mid-tone bright pink. The next one is called Mesmerizing Magenta. This one is more of like a magenta or berry tone compared to the one right before this, which was called Faint for Fuchsia. This one is a lot more berry tone, a little bit more warmer, and a little bit deeper. It's definitely not as bright or neon compared to the other Faint for Fuchsia. I didn't mention it, but the past three, Ravishing Rose, Faint for Fuchsia, and Mesmerizing Magenta, were all part of the original collection. The next one I have is called Vibrate Violet. This is part of the new collection. It's the only purple out of the entire collection. When you swatch this, it does have sort of like a pinky undertone, but it is quite purple. So if you're interested in purple lipsticks, this would be a really good option. It's like a mid-tone, deeper purple without being too vampy, but it's also not a light purple. The next one is called Blushing Pout, which is also part of the new collection. This one is very similar to Lust for Blush, but a little bit light. It's almost like a lighter version of Lust for Blush. So if you're looking for a light pale pink, this would be exactly what you're looking for. The next one is called Pink and Chic, which is part of the new collection. It is a really bright, vibrant, cool tone pink with almost like purple undertones. It's definitely the lightest and brightest pink out of the entire collection. The next one is called Electric Pink. This one is almost like a warmer version of the one before this called Pink and Chic. This is still quite bright, but it has more of a warmer undertone. Electric Pink is also part of the new collection. The next one I have is called Craving Coral. Although it has coral in the name, I definitely would not consider this a coral, and I would probably just say it's a really just nice warm tone orange color. It was part of the original collection. The next one I have is called Pink Sugar, which is part of the new collection. I would say that this is probably closest to a coral color that this collection has. It's not necessarily really coral, but it has more of like a warmer or almost like a slight orange tone to the pink. It's a really pretty light pink, almost with a coral undertone. The next one is called All Fired Up. This one is a really bright, vibrant pink with really warm undertones. This is part of the new collection. It reminds me of MAC Impassioned, so it's a really bright pink, but it definitely has that warm or coral undertones. The next one is called Siren in Scarlet, which is almost like a warm tone red color. It's almost like a neutral red without being too cool. It leans a little bit warm or orange tone, but nothing that's too warm or orange red. And it is part of the original collection. The next one I have is called Rich Ruby, which is part of the new collection. So compared to the previous red, which is Siren and Scarlet, this one is a lot more cool tone. It's a little bit deeper as well. So if you're comparing Siren and Scarlet to Rich Ruby, Siren and Scarlet is definitely brighter, but also a little bit more orange tone, where Rich Ruby is deeper with a little bit more cool tone. And the last two I have are the deepest of the entire collection. The first one is called Devine Wine, which was a part of the original collection. This is a really deep burgundy red color. It's a really deep color, but it definitely still has that red or burgundy look to it. And the final one is called Burgundy Blush, which is part of the new collection. This is almost like a really vampy red with really brown undertones. It can kind of look brown on your lips. You definitely could play up the brown and put like a pure brown lip liner underneath to make more of the brown undertones come through, but it definitely has a little bit of red undertone. So overall, I really enjoy these Maybelline Color Sensational matte lipsticks. I was really happy when Maybelline released the 10 new shades. It really expanded the range, and I think that the drugstores is lacking a little bit in sort of a matte lipstick formula. And this formula on these lipsticks are really nice and creamy. They have a really nice matte texture without being overly drying. Nothing that is too shiny like a shiny lipstick. So if you're looking for a matte lipstick, I would definitely recommend these. I think that the shade range is phenomenal for a drugstore shade range. You don't see a lot of shade ranges with a specific formula in the drugstores. You see a lot of shade ranges that sort of intertwine things, and I think that having these matte lipsticks at a drugstore is a really nice thing. They are relatively inexpensive, just depending where you pick them up. I think they range anywhere from $7 to $9, and you definitely can find them on sale. I've definitely found them on sale for like $4 or $5, just depending on where you're picking them up. So definitely wait for a sale, because then it can make it a really good drugstore buy. I hope you all have enjoyed this review that I have done on these Maybelline matte lipsticks. If you've tried any of the new collection or even any of the old collection, definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure you subscribe because I will be doing lots of upcoming drugstore reviews. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned.